done. So without pretty much further ado, because I don't want to keep us here all night, but we have our first installment of the Marriage and Money series, and I'm super excited about this, y'all, especially in this economic day and time. Like, we got to make sure that our money is right, and so we decided to give back to you by making this whole series completely free. Like, we're not even charging you like we were going to, because we want to make sure that during this time while you're at home, we're giving something back to you, back to your family. Not only do we want to make sure that you're comfortable and that, you know, you don't catch the Rona, but we want to make sure that your finances are in order. And not only that, but you're in a position to build wealth. And that starts with what? Getting your budget right, getting your day-to-day spending right. Okay, so whether you're married and need some tips on how to manage your household finances a little bit better, or maybe you're single and you're like, I want to be married one day, but I want to make sure my finances are in order. I want to make sure that I'm doing and taking the best steps possible. Well, tonight is for you. Tonight is for you. So we have my sister, my good friend, but also a boss chick. Okay, I love her. And she's actually my own financial expert. Yes, I pay her to get my money together. And that's why I trust her voice so much. Rashida Main is a CEO of her own company, Green Chips, where she helps people, especially people of color, but people in general, to make sure that they are in position to build wealth. And she'll tell you a little bit more about that. She also has some other positions and stuff. I'm gonna let her speak on that because child, them letters and stuff is just way above my pay grade. And so I'm gonna let her speak on that. But she is an amazing woman of God. She's an amazing friend to me, and I'm excited to share my platform with her. Many of y'all have probably seen her at events or whatever the case may be. But without further ado, Rashida.
Hi, you guys. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up, thumbs up. They can hear me. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump right into it. Thank you first, Vernique, for allowing me to come on. As you see, we're twins today. I have my secure in the bag shirt on. So yes, I appreciate you allowing me to come on, especially in the month of April, which is Financial Literacy Month, to talk about something that I love to talk about, is money. So I'm super excited to come on, guys. A lot of you guys that are in the group, I have talked to in the past. Some of you guys are my clients, so you know how I am about money. But if you're not, I hope you can become part of my family at Green Chips as well, as we try to build wealth, abundance as well, and do it God's way. I do a little plug there. I do structure my financial planning on biblical principles as well. So not only are you going to get someone that is going to give you quality financial advice, you're going to get someone that is going to show you how to be a good steward God's way over your finances. So we're going to jump right in here. One moment, I'm going to get my presentation up here. All right, all right. All right, so of course this webinar is going to be marriage and money. We're going to talk about financial literacy, and that can engulf a multitude of topics, but we're going to specifically hone in on why it is important. We're going to talk about financial planning and talk about how relationship and money kind of work together. A little bit about me, of course. Vernique has already told you guys, my name is Rashida Mahan. I am the founder of Green Chips Financial Freedom. I have been in the business for 10 years now. I worked for companies like Wells Fargo Advisors, Morgan Stanley, Wealth Management, of course, nonprofit organizations called Operation Hope, and all in financial services and wealth management. I have a BS in financial planning and business. I'm a licensed insurance agent in the state of Georgia. I've had several investment licenses called FINRA license. It's Series 6 and 63. And of course, I am a CFP candidate, which is a certified financial planner candidate. So all those letters Vernique talking about, I am a firm believer in multiple streams of income. So yes, we wrap it all together here. A little bit more about Green Chips Financial Freedom. So I started this organization based off seeing a need for individuals that are mid to low income. They were not able to get quality financial advice like some of my clients that make $1 million+ in assets. So Green Chips allows me to give quality financial advice to all ranges of income, specifically low to middle income individuals, and help the next generation of wealth builders succeed financially, live life more abundantly, and create generational wealth. I have a direct focus on helping you guys do generational wealth. We promote financial planning and financial literacy as well. Some of our services is financial planning, of course, for personal and businesses. We have financial wellness programs for employees, digital financial literacy curriculum for grades 6 through 12, college and adult learners. So the kids right now are out of school. So if you need some curriculums or something to keep your students engaged, please reach out. I have a plethora of curriculum that I can help them with financial literacy. And then, of course, seminars and webinars similar to the one we're doing tonight on credit and money management, home ownership, and entrepreneurship. So key objectives tonight, what you will walk away with tonight. The first thing you're gonna walk away with is, what is financial planning? We wanna make sure we break that down to what is it really? Why is financial planning and financial literacy so important? The truth about money and relationships. And of course, because we are in this time right now, COVID-19 is happening. I want to make sure that I leave you guys with some valuable tips that you can utilize today to help you navigate the times that we're in currently. So let's talk. So a lot of times we come out and say, I don't need a financial planner. I don't need to pay anyone to do that. I'll have it on my own. But unfortunately, the statistics are, they're staggering of where they are, and they're increasing over time. So the need to have someone in your corner to be able to guide you step by step and give you strategic tools to use to help you understand financial literacy is extremely important. So the first statistics you're going to have on here is 44% of Americans don't have enough cash to cover a $400 emergency. So what this means is someone that may lose their job, especially right now in these trying times, this is going to be very difficult with you, especially with the average emergency costing about $1,000. This is going to really put you in a very odd, and I wouldn't say odd, but very difficult. That's the correct word, difficult situation. So you want to make sure that you do have emergency savings. Can't say that enough. I know you hear it all the time, but I can't speak that enough. 43% of student loans borrowers are not making payments. I know you guys probably see the memes all the time of they talk student loans, who's going to pay those? You're going to pay it, whether you pay it yourself voluntarily, or they garnish your wages and they take it out your banking account without your permission. They don't need permission to do that. So you want to make sure you really hone in on that. 38% of US households have credit card debt. One thing I see with a lot of my clients that I've had over the years and currently is we don't look at the interest rates that we're paying on these credit cards. And so we get this debt, we max the credit card out, and then every month we're paying the minimum payments that is barely nudging the actual principal balance. It's mostly interest. So you want to make sure you have someone in your corner. You can talk about strategic ways that you can get that interest rate down and start to pay off that debt. 33% of American adults have zero saved for retirement. Now, for millennials, I know a lot of us in the group are millennials. Right now, they're saying $1.8 to $2 million is what we would need to retire. And by 2024, Social Security will be depleted. So we won't have, like our parents and grandparents had Social Security checks coming in to help them. We won't have that luxury. That's what they're saying now. That's what they're estimating. So what are you doing now to prepare yourself for that? So if 33 Americans don't even have they don't have zero, they don't have anything saved, we got to start working on those things. So where do we go from there? So only 5 states out of our 50 have high school financial literacy programs. They don't make it mandatory. We're getting better over the years. As I see, a lot of schools are purchasing even Green Chips curriculum for their students. We're getting better. That number is increasing. However, as time fit, I didn't have financial literacy in my high school classes. And for my daughter, I'm not sure if she's going to have it. So it's a responsibility of ours to make sure that we educate ourselves and also educate our kids for generations to come. The issue that a lot of financial planners see, including myself, is money management and financial planning only becomes important when there's a crisis, when it becomes too late, like when you can't afford to retire. That's not the time when you get to 65 to start planning for retirement. You want to start way beforehand and get those things situated. What is a financial plan? You may, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you follow me, you will see me say very often, getting your credit fix alone or getting a budget alone, that is not a financial plan. Those are elements of your financial plan, but that's not a financial plan. So here you see a financial plan is a comprehensive picture of your current finances, your financial goals and strategies you set to achieve those goals. So your good financial plan is going to include your cash flow, your savings, your debt, investments, anything that is encompassed in finances, that's going to be including your financial plan. You want to know where you're going. You want to know what your goals are. If you are repairing your credit, are you repairing your credit to buy a home? If you're, are you buying a car? What are you doing with that credit repair? Are you saving just for emergencies only? Or are you saving to travel the world? Are you saving to start that business? You have to get a full 360 plan together so you know where your money is going. So it is absolutely 100% important that you get a financial plan. And financial plan is just not for wealthy individuals. Everyone needs a financial plan. If you get a paycheck, you need a financial plan. And we have made it at Green Chips very feasible for you to obtain a financial plan. So it's not $1 million. You're not going to pay thousands of dollars on there. And I may have a special offer for you guys at the end of our presentation, but you're not going to pay nearly that with Green Chips. And we're here to help you navigate the day-to-day life and create a financial plan that fits your personal life. And so this is some of the work that we do at Green Chips. It's called the Financial Freedom Framework. As you can see there, we have different phases of the financial plan that we go through with understanding your relationship and behaviors with money. A lot of times we talk about using a budget or using these tools on the internet, Googling systems and tools to use, but it doesn't matter how many tools I give you to use. If you don't understand your relationship and behaviors with money, nothing's going to ever work. It's never going to work because you have to attack it from the root. What happened to you as a child? What are some money behaviors that you've adopted over the years? What are the current paths you're taking? What are the risks you're taking? Understanding what changes you need to make right now, today. Those things are crucial for you to really get to your goal and achieve financial freedom. So of course, after that, we have a plan that we put in place, we execute your plan, and we measure that plan. On a monthly basis, we're gonna make sure that we're your accountability partner. Don't do this alone. It is hard. A lot of us, I'm 30. I'll just tell on myself, I'm 30. But a lot of my peers are either at that age or they're right at coming to that age. And I tell them all the time, look here, you need someone to hold your hand. To wipe away 30 years of behaviors of something you've been doing every single day for 30 years is hard. You need someone to hold your hand and guide you through the process and make sure that you're doing this on a consistent basis so it do become a habit for you. So we are going to get into our second phase of our presentation here about money and marriage. If you have any questions about the previous talk about how to make a budget, how to get a financial plan, please make sure that you drop those questions in the comment section. Vernique will get those to me at the end of our presentation. And if I don't get all your questions, then I will make sure that I'll try to reach out to you guys, or you can reach out to me on my various platforms for specific questions to your financial situation that you may be having. So money and marriage. So I have many clients that are married and I'm not married. So my experience fully, I've never been married, but my experience fully comes from my clients I've had. And the biggest thing we have had issues over when talking to the couples are the 3 bullet points you see on your screen. And that's getting on the same page, the lifestyles, making sure the lifestyles match up, and having realistic expectations in the marriage around finances. So these are some of the 3 things we're going to talk about in the next phase of our presentation here. The first one is separate bank accounts. Now, we have had this conversation in Authentically Wed. We've had this conversation about, should you have separate bank accounts or not? Myself, I am the song INDEP, yeah, all that. I'm still saved, but that's me. So I'm independent. So I always think, why would I share my money with my spouse? But the realistic aspect of that, you have to have a joint bank account in order for it to work. If you don't want money to ruin your marriage, there needs to be a joint bank account. So some couples think the best way to avoid money arguments is to keep separate checking accounts. For example, his paycheck goes into one account, hers goes into another, and then they pay bills separately. So of course, that's not going to come to a positive outcome. So what you can do is, if you decide together to have separate bank accounts, what you can do, an alternative, is have a joint account. Make sure both checks come into that account, you pay bills out that account, and then you can have 2 separate accounts that you allocate as for spending money. So your spending account. So everything goes into the joint account, and then you transfer out to the different accounts as you need it. With the spending account, a lot of times I see it's good because you're going to talk to your spouse about buying a washing machine for the house or buying a television, bigger purchases, but those smaller purchases that you may have for lunch, or you're going to buy soda, things of that nature, you may not be having conversations as often about that. And those small things can cause overdraft fees and things like that to come into an account. So it does make sense to have a separate account in that capacity, but everyone needs to know about what the activity is going on in that account, the secret accounts. When you're married, it's all one, come together. And I know a lot of people have different views on that. And a lot of people say, whatever works for your marriage, let it work. That's fine and dandy, but I'm telling you from years of experience with clients, the best way is to have a joint account. And then if you do need to spend the accounts on the side, make a decision together in order to do so. So salary differences. A lot of times people say, well, why does it matter about the salary? Well, it does. And for most couples, no one is going to make the exact same salary amount. Typically, no one's going to make, if he makes $50,000 and she makes $60,000, no one's actually going to make the same amount all the time. So sometimes the spouse bringing in the most money have this idea that because they bring in more money, they have more leverage of the financial conversations that they're having in the household, that they can take over the financial decisions and what they say go. It doesn't work that way. Whatever you guys bring in, it becomes one pot. It is one pot, it becomes yours. So when you're having conversations with your spouse about finances, take out the verbiage of my check, my checking account, my savings account. Start using the word our for every conversation you're having so that it can get ingrained inside that it is our money and this is for our future together and to build whatever we're trying to build and the goals that we're trying to achieve together. So make sure that you are not trying to leverage over another one just because you make more money than the other. A little tip I want to say before we go to the next slide, I recommend all my married clients a minimum have a conversation about finances once a week, weekly. If not daily, if you're like me, I love talking about money, but if not daily, if you're not that person, at least weekly, have a conversation about money. We have to start talking. We have to make sure that this becomes our norm, whether it's at dinner time, wherever you want to insert it in your time to talk, make sure that talk about finances is on the top of that list and keep all parties in the know about what's going on with the finances. Do not let the kids run the show. Even as a single mom, I love my baby Nala. Everyone knows I love her to death. However, you have to get to the point where, especially when you are married, that when your kids start asking for certain items, if they're asking for a video game, a glitter kit, that's what my daughter is in now, glitter kits, you want to give them gifts because of their great behavior, good grades in school, they're not getting in trouble. And you're like, why not? Why not go ahead and give it to them? The other spouse may be like, well, that's not in the budget. Why are we giving it to them? So you want to make sure you have these conversations up front of how do you want this to work in your house? How do you allow allowance to go in the house? How do you allow awarding the kids to go into the house? So decide together how to make a budget for the things your children need, whether it's buying them toys, giving them allowance, or paying for extracurricular activities. Make it a part of your budget. Learn how to say no. When I first had Nala, this was the hardest thing for me. My parents, I learned a lot of behaviors from them. So I had to even kind of decode what was going on with my behaviors with money in the beginning. But my parents always just, whatever I asked for, especially my dad. My mom, not too much, but my dad, if I asked for it, he gave it to me. He never said no. And so I kind of picked up on that when I had Nala. And anytime she asked for something, like, oh, she's a great kid, always give it to her. I had to start teaching her money behaviors as well, because that was although my dad meant well, that was a toxic money behavior for him that he passed on, and I don't want to pass that to her. So I've learned to tell her no and let her know it's not in the budget. That's why I can't do it. But maybe we can work on gaining more money by you doing chores or tasks to raise that money to get the gifts that you want. So use this as a teaching opportunity for your kids and learn how to say no. So disagreeing about lifestyle. So let's say you're perfectly content at buying things at Goodwill. You don't have any issues with thrifting, that's your thing. But you have a spouse that like the Gucci, Prada, Fendi, they gotta have it all. I'm a Gucci girl, I love it. So I have to even stop myself sometimes. But if you have a spouse that's like that and you're more on the feasible side of things, then that can really allow you guys to butt heads. So if your spouse have expensive taste, and you're just, borderline, whatever, I just get what I need, I make sure I got a shirt on my body, I'm fine. If you're that type of person, then that's going to cause some confusion in the marriage. So you want to make sure your lifestyle needs line up with your budget and the goals you have set in your financial plan. That is why it's so crucial to have a financial plan, so you know what your goals are. Where's the end line for you? What are you looking towards? I can't buy this Gucci bag because I'm looking to travel next year. We want to go to 2 different countries next year, or we're saving for a home. We need to save for a down payment for a home, or we don't have an emergency fund. We need to save for an emergency fund. We need to retire. The list can go on and on. If you know what your needs are, you start to focus on them, and that's what a financial plan allows you to do. Compromise in these areas as well. So if there is someone that has a little more expensive taste than the other, maybe you guys can go to discounted stores for the name brand items. Go to a TJ Maxx or Marshalls for the name brands items. Maybe that will be a compromise for you guys versus you going to Lenox in Atlanta and buying up the mall. So compromise in that way, and then really talk about not keeping up with the Joneses. Make sure that this is a lifestyle you want to live, and the lifestyle lines up with the goals that you have planned for your family. Personality differences. Now, this kind of goes on with the lifestyles. Personality. So one person may love talking about numbers. That's probably me. that probably would be me when I get married. Love talking about money. And the other one is more free-spirited. I have some friends, they don't mind they spend all their money all the time. I'm like, dang, do you not understand? You need to save that money. But they're not like that. So even in a marriage, you may have those personality differences. And if you don't have the conversation, you will clash. So you have to sit down and have a conversation and make sure that you guys are on the same page when it comes to money. No one is greater than the next. Just because I know a lot about money and my spouse may be free-spirited doesn't mean one is greater than the next. I tell my clients all the time, I don't believe in working just to pay bills. There is a balance there. So you need both people to come in and give their input so that you guys can come together and be stronger together and have different views on what you should spend on. And saving all the time may not be the proper thing for your house. It may take some luxury sometimes to travel or whatever you guys desire, start a business. I don't think that's a luxury. In these day and time, it's a necessity. almost. I mean, well, I wouldn't say almost. It's a necessity to have multiple streams of incomes at this point. But whatever that is, you want to make sure that those personalities come together and you guys become a strong team together and work out those differences. Set realistic expectations. This is one of the biggest conversations I have with my clients, especially my newlywed clients that I sit down with. One client would have, one of the spouses would have a expectation, we're going to get married, we're going to buy the house, we're going to have kids, we're going to travel 2 times a year. The other spouse is like, well, what's wrong with the apartment we're in now? What's the problem? But if you don't have that conversation, you would never know that this person wants all these things over here, and this person is content with living, the way they are. So if you always thought you have to immediately buy a house after getting married, you might feel let down when you celebrate your first anniversary and the apartment in the apartment you're renting. So that's one of the biggest things I see with my clients. So make sure you get on the same page of what that looks like. You don't have to have a house first year of marriage. You don't have to. It's whatever you guys decide together. That's the beauty of marriage. You make it your own. So whatever you guys sit down and agree upon together, that's what you gotta do. The quickest way to feel unfilled and unsatisfied with your spouse is financial goals. Unfortunately, finances is one of the top reasons a lot of couples end up dissolving their marriage. So you want to make sure that you can do everything you can to talk about these things up front and within the marriage as well. Don't stop talking when you get married. Like I said, on a weekly basis, have these conversations. Make sure that those expectations are realistic so you don't get down. If you don't see it happening in the year, make a 5-year plan. That's okay. Sit down with your financial planner. Look, I have a 5-year plan. We want to be out of this apartment. We want to be in that house. This is what we want. Set that plan up. And of course, you have my dog Biscuit in the background. He's agreeing with me tonight. And so that's going to wrap up our marriage and money segment on there. Before I get off, you guys, of course, we are in some trying times right now with the COVID-19. So before I leave, I definitely want to give you some tips that you can use tonight and share these tips. I have it on my Instagram page at greenchips_financial freedom. I'll be giving tips all month of April and on a consistent basis anyway on the site. But some tips you can use right now is credit reports play an important role in your financial future. Make sure you set up online payments to stay on top of credit card payments during this unprecedented pandemic. So you want to make sure that you're setting up your online payments. Pay the bills if you can. If you can, don't opt out to pay just because they're giving you this. They're giving everyone 3 months time frame to pay things off. If you can pay it, pay it. If you do need help in these areas, there is a lot of help that's out there. A lot of my clients, I have sent information out consistently to them as time has went on, because we know with this situation we're dealing with, things are happening so fast. Almost every hour there's an update. But make sure that you are able to put your payments online automatically, and if not, make sure you're reaching out to those creditors to tell them your situation to see what resources they have. Open an emergency fund. You've heard me talking about that earlier today in our presentation. So open an emergency fund. Save a little money at a time. It doesn't have to be the 3 to 6 months that's the rule of thumb that we always talking about. We want you to get there, of course, but right now we need you to save little by little, anything that you can, because we don't really know how long this is going to pan out. So you want to make sure you start an emergency fund. If that's $25 a week, if you can do 50, whatever you can do, start to make sure you have enough cushion to hold you over if this goes into a time that we weren't expecting. Again, voice your concerns to your financial lenders. Many lenders have announced proactive measures to help borrowers impacted by COVID-19. I know for a fact, I used to work for Wells Fargo, and I get a lot of messages still. I have my accounts with them, but they have where you can postpone your payments for 3 months for your mortgage. So if you don't have it, they have that option for you. I've seen that Chase's have options out there. Bank of America they have options out there. So there is help for you guys. Make sure you contact them though. Don't just stop paying. Don't go cold turkey. We don't want your credit score to go down just because of this situation. We want to make sure wherever it's at, we want to increase in this time if possible. So reach out to them and let them know what concerns you have over your finances. Inquire about your student loans. Here we go, talk about that dreadful student loan word again. But ask for income sensitive payment plans. So it's called income sensitive payment plans or limited loan forbearance period. Either of those two right now will allow you to either postpone payments or to give you an opportunity to pay payments that are not equal to your normal salary that you will be making. Make sure you contact them. If you have not been paying them at all and you still have your job right now, still call and ask them what options do you have in this time to start paying your student loans. Because remember, just because you're not paying doesn't mean that it will stop them from garnishing your wages. And this is definitely not the time for any of that to transpire right now. Don't be fooled by scammers. I don't know how many people I have seen on my Instagram, my LinkedIn, over the last couple of weeks. They come out the woodworks. They're investment experts and mortgage experts, all these people. Make sure you get someone that is reputable. Check out how long they've been in the business. See if they have any testimonials. You can see anything like that to make sure you're dealing with someone that is skilled in that area and they're going to give you quality financial advice. Do not be fooled out here because it will start, you guys. Be cautious of emails, texts, or social media posts that may be selling fake products or information about emerging coronavirus cases as well. So one way to damage your financial profile is by incurring unnecessary debt. Do not take on any unnecessary debt right now. If you can stop it, don't take anything. We want to keep the debt down. Don't add any additional debts to your profile if you can. Try your best. You're going to start getting the credit cards in the mail. Try your best to just get rid of those and just deal with what you have right now. So you don't want to put yourself, after this passes, you don't want to put yourself in a position that you're still stuck in a financial burden. And 90% of the time we make emotional purchases when we are stressed. So save your money. Now is not the time to spend on unnecessary purchases. This is not the time, you guys, to go and splurge. I know we have a lot of new hobbies and things like that that's coming in the works. A lot of people telling you to start these new businesses and things like that. If that is your desire, yes, this is the time to do it. We have so much time on our hands. But if this is something that you're just trying to pass over time, you're just doing it just because everyone else is doing it, this is not the time to do that. This is not risky times. We don't need to take any risks. We need to save everything we can and really try to wait it out and see what's going to transpire. Above all that, I want to end with you guys letting you know that this too shall pass. We believe, everyone on this group, we are God fearing. And we do believe in a God that is not going to allow us to want or need for anything. He will protect us. So for our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. That's 2 Corinthians 4:17, you guys. So at the end of the day, just breathe. This too shall pass. We'll get through this. If you need my assistance, I'm here for you guys. Of course, I am on on Instagram at greenchips_financial freedom. On my LinkedIn page is under Rashida Mahan. And if you would like to book an appointment to speak with me, have a counseling session, you can book online at greenchips-financialfreedom.com and /book online. So thank you guys for listening to me tonight. And any questions you have, we will jump into it and get over to Veronique. Thank you, guys. We can't hear Veronique, but I can't hear you. So let's see.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go, you guys.
I'm telling you, technology is trying it today. but it will not prevail.
It's
okay.
Corona. We blame
So that was girl, okay. So I have I learned so much. That was such a good session. I have some questions. Are you up for some questions?
I am ready for the questions.
Okay. So one thing, actually, before I ask a question, one thing that I really have learned over time, as well as from Rashida, we recently had a session. And one thing that I'm really learning and realizing, and I think I knew this in the past, but as I'm planning my own financial future, I'm learning this more and more. But the psychological aspect of money, right? So we talk about generational wealth and we talk about, generational curses and poverty and things like that, but we don't recognize, and sometimes I think that we don't like to take responsibility for the fact that it really, like, that was the past, right? So the Bible talks about, like, in Christ we're new creations. All the old has passed away, and behold, all things have become new. And so if all things have become new, and you are starting a family, or you're in a position to do better with your finances, this is the time where you need to allow Christ to renew your mind concerning your money. Not only that, but from an even more practical standpoint, you have to change your mind about your money, about how you spend it, about how it's used, about what it means to you, right? Your attachments to money. This is a psychological game, and we cannot allow the enemy to have a foothold in our minds pertaining to our finances. Our finances, our money, it is a tool that God has given us to maneuver in the earth, as well as to sow into the kingdom of God. And so we really have to be mindful about our mindset. And this is why I am a huge proponent of, when it comes down to premarital counseling, you should be having these conversations. Do not omit the financial conversation. Some of the stuff that Rashida pointed out, like, okay, well, what is your goal for your money? Nobody talks about that. Like, well, what do you want to do with the money that we have, right? Now and then in the future, what type of spending habits do we have? What's our spending culture? What's our financial culture as a couple? So these are the things that you should be talking about in premarital counseling. And honestly, you should invite somebody like Rashida in order to have those conversations when you are looking to marry somebody. Don't wait till the accounts are already joined together, right? Don't wait until the first kid comes out. Now, if you're past that point, invite a financial expert in. But it's so important for us to attack this thing from a psychological perspective first, right? So perfect example, to not belabor the point, is me and Rashida had a session recently, and she asked me straight up and was like, well, what's your history with money? And so I'm like, it's all right. And then I go into this whole thing and I realize that not only was I not necessarily really taught about money, but I'm scared. Like, I have a fearful connection with money because I don't ever want to be in the same lifestyle that I was as a child. And so I live my life in such a way that I work really hard, and I may spend money on food and to go out with friends, but I don't make major purchases for things that I just want because I'm just scared. Like, what if that's the one purchase that makes me homeless, right? And it seems silly, but it's real. And so one of my questions for you is, if you are single, right, not yet married, what are some budgeting tips that you have in order so we don't get caught up in that cycle once we've already joined somebody else?
So one thing I would